So welcome everybody. Today we are going to continue with the different stages of purification and together with the Vipassana or wisdom. So let's pay respect before we start.
Okay. Homage to the sublime, to the victorious one, to the totally self-enlightened one. Together in Pali. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Welcome everybody. Let's continue exploring the tools for purifying our mind. Let's continue with the stages of enlightenment. Welcome everybody.
Yes, welcome everybody. So today we are going to continue with the different stages of enlightenment, different stages of purification before enlightenment, actually, during the Vipassana practice. So last time, we have been talking about the stage of the purification by knowledge and vision as to what is the right path and as to what is not the right path. So here, in this stage, it consists of two kinds of wisdom, two kinds of knowledge, and we have seen one of them, which is Sammasananyana, by understanding the objects or all conditioned things as anicca, dukkha, and anatta in different ways, in many different angles. That's the first knowledge that we have seen in this stage. And today we are going to talk about the second knowledge, which belong to this purification, this stage of purification. Okay, so as just a little review and reminder, let's take a look of what happened during the Vipassana meditation. So first, the yogi or the meditator, first he analyze what is mind and what is matter. So by taking citta or cittasikas or anything, each one, then he understand the characteristics and its function, manifestation, or causes. He understand each one, how they are different from each other, what is mind and what is matter, by its individual characteristics. So he or she very clearly knows about what is mind and what is matter. Then later on, what happens is that he or she sees the causes of those conditioned things. So that is called the Paccaya Parigaha Jnana. So he understands that, like, let's say the I consciousness is caused by different causes, and then the rupa is caused by karma or by nutrition, by citta, temperature, etc. So he knows the causes of the causes and conditions of those objects, those mind and matter, the ultimate reality that he or she is observing. Okay, then. Yes, Bante?
No, yeah. I said just the mind and matter that he or she is contemplating.
Yes. Then after that, in the Sammasananyana, which is the last knowledge that we have been looking at last week, is that he now or she now take rupa or nama as a group. Instead of taking them individually, he now take them as a group. And so the group of mind and the group of matter, or he can take it as the 5 aggregates. So in different classification, different groups. So he sees that the whole aggregate of rupa is anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Yes, all the whole, all cetasikas are anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Or all chittas, all vinyanas, anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So in groups, he takes them and analyze them and understand them. Then they are impermanent, unsatisfactory, and non-self. Yes, so in different ways as well. So last week we have already seen this. So I'm not going to repeat it again here because we are going to the next understanding. Now, after Sammasananyana, what happens is that the yogi continues to contemplate, and then after understanding that mind and matter is impermanent and unsatisfactory and soulless or non-self in many different detailed ways, then he contemplates about the rising and falling. So the next jnana, next understanding is called the knowledge of arising and passing away, Udhiabianyana. Udhiabianyana. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about this, and then we are going to continue with the other stages and the other kinds of understanding. Okay, so Udhiabianyana here, according to the name, we understand it says arising and passing away. Yes, so now he understands how things arises and how things pass away. So here in this jnana, in this understanding and this knowledge, the previous understanding of the Paticcasamuppada is very helpful for the yogi in this stage of Vipassana, because he is to understand how one thing links to the other, what are the main causes of each one. And so the knowledge of the Paticcasamuppada here for contemplation will become very important during this stage of understanding Udhiabianyana. Okay, so now let's say, for example, the yogi, he's contemplating about rupa, okay? So when he contemplates about rupa, any kind of rupa, here he understands that because there is avijja, there is the arising of rupa. Yes, according to the Paticcasamuppada, he understands avijja paccaya sankara, sankara paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya nama rupa. So because there is ignorance in the past, then there are conditions for the arising of rupa, no? And also he understands that because there is craving, then there is the arising of rupa. Remember that in the Paticcasamuppada, because of ignorance and because of craving, then there are conditions for new life to arise, no? And for new rupa to arise. So he understands it in this way. Yes, Bhante?
Yeah, that generates this craving is what the force together with karma is the force that generates another patisandhi, another consciousness. There is still energy and potentiality stored. So when the conditions are together, boom, again, one rebirth and then life and death as we are going through in this one. Yes.
Yes. Also, he understands that because there is karma, then there is the arising of rupa. Because of karma that we have done previously, then this rupa is also being generated, as well as being supported by nutriment, then rupa continue to arise. So because there is nutriment, there is the arising of rupa. So in this way, according to the Paticcasamuppada, the yogi contemplates on the conditions and causes for rupa to arise. No, so this time he understands that the rising of rupa, it's because of avijja, of ignorance, of craving, of karma, and also of nutrition. So in this way, it is called, he understands by way of condition. He understands the arising of rupa by way of condition. Yes, Bhante?
Yes, so as you can see, my dears, this is just what we have been seeing all these chapters. Like we were seeing how rupa arises, we said there is mind generated, there is a nutriment generated, there is karma generated matter. So actually all the knowledge that we have been acquiring in the previous months, it will be very useful when we apply it onto contemplating what is happening. We know what things are there to look for. So we are not lost into what am I supposed to do now that the mind is stable after meditation. So now we know, and we can make use. We will need all this information to clarify the reality.
Thank you, Bhante. Okay, so now here, by way of conditioned, meaning like the causes, know how it arises, but also the yogi here, he understands that because of these conditions, then rupa has the chance to arise. So when there is no more these conditions, then there is no more this rupa as well. So he understands the cause of the arising and as well as the cause of the cessation. So he understands, therefore, this understanding is called the knowledge of rising and falling, no? Or rising and passing away. No? So he understands first in the way by way of conditioned. How because of these conditions are present, then rupa arise. Then because this condition cease, then rupa also cease. So in the same way, he understands also and other things. Then now we will go to take a look at. So this is called by way of condition. And also the yogi, he also contemplates by way of moment. By way of moment means the moment of the arising and the moment of the dissolution of what he is observing at the moment, no? So he sees the arising, let's say rupa in this case, the arising of the rupa, and he sees the ceasing of the rupa as well in terms of moment. So arises and passes away, arises and passes away, arises and passes away, no? So at this stage, the yogi see this very clearly. All things that arises, passes away, arises and passes away, whether it is a mind or whether it is matter. Yes, Bhante?
Yeah, and in terms of practice, we can, as we mentioned last week, we can use sound, that is matter, actually is materiality moving, and we are perceiving it. We can take that events as something that is very easily understood, that it is present, and then there is not. And where is the sound? It came, and then it goes. So sound, sight, or a physical sensation, or anything, in this case matter, we can be contemplating the arising and the dissolution. Is easier to see it when it disappears, and later on we will need that knowledge also. The dissolution becomes prominent onto understanding.
Yes, that is the next understanding that we will come to. Yes,
it's coming. So I'm pointing out that yes, the arising is good, but the dissolution, you will see that is special and easier to get, and we need to point our minds to start seeing that everything passes away, everything passes away. And later on, there are more, we will see today, more insights that start arising from that contemplation.
Yes, thank you, Bhante. So the yogi, he or she contemplates on how things arises due to conditions, and also by way of moment. So the arising moment and then the dissolution moment of everything that he observed at that time. So therefore, again, he contemplates applying to different groups. So let's say the five aggregates here are important. So he's many times the yogi use the 5 aggregates, or he can use the ayatanas, the bases, or he can use the different categories, different classifications that we have seen in chapter 7. And so he used this different group and contemplate in the same way. So he contemplate by way of condition and by way of moment, applying it to Vijnana, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Rupa in case of the 5 aggregates. Yes, Bhante?
Yeah, just to make a little reminder, actually the 5 aggregates is us. It's just a separation. When we are totally diluted, I say I, me, mine, myself. Then we say mind and matter. Yes, I have a body, I have a mind. And then the 5 aggregates will be the 4 separation of the part of the mind and the rupa. So actually, we are contemplating about ourselves in the different area with a little bit more detail, mind and matter.
Yes. At the end, Vipassana object is only mind and matter. Not only mind and matter can be the object of Vipassana meditation. No? And also Rupa, only the concretely produced matter, not the subtle matter. No? This we have already talked about anyway. So in this way, the yogi contemplates on the 5 aggregates, on its arising and its ceasing by way of condition and by way of moment. That is what is called the knowledge of arising and passing away, Udhiabianyana. No? Okay, so now we have seen the condition that in 4 ways about rupa, no? And also one way by way of moment. So let's take a look of the other ones. It's actually quite similar, but just as an example, I will give you this information. Now, when he contemplates about Vijnana, he understands that because there is avijja, there is the rising of Vijnana. In the same way, now avijja pachaya sankhara, sankhara pachaya Vijnana. No? So actually, ignorance is a very important condition in this case for the arising. And because again, because there is craving, then Vijnana also arises. Then because of karma, and then this Vijnana also arises. So in the same way, by way of these conditions, he contemplates according to the Paticcasamuppada how chitta arises. Now, the only thing that is different here is not the nutrient that condition the arising of Vijnana, but instead it is nama and rupa. Because there is nama and rupa, there's the arising of Vijnana as well. Let's take the Patisandhi, the rebirth consciousness. It always arises together with the Chittasikas and the Kamaja Rupa. No, in this case, the Rupa born by Kama in the same time. No, so in this case, for Vijnana, so the yogi contemplates those causes as to be ignorance, craving, karma, as well as nama and rupa. according to the Paticca Samuppada, no? So he understands, he contemplates by this way. So the yogi, he's understanding how vijnana arises, how it arises because of ignorance, how it arises because of craving, how it arises because of karma, how it arises because of namarupa, no? So in this way. So for the other three, the other Vedana, Sanya, and Sankhara. Vedana, one Cetasika, Sanya, another Cetasika, and Sankhara, here in the 5 aggregates, meaning the other 50 Cetasikas. In the same way, he also understands that because there is ignorance, craving, and karma, all these also arise. Now, the only thing that is different, again, is the last one. For these three, the last one arises because of phassa, because of contact. Is a condition for this to arise, because without contact, then there is no Vedana. Without contact, there is no Sanya. Because if we don't get into contact with the object, then how can there be perception? No, how can there be any other kind of Cetasika that arises? So phassa here is an important condition for these Cetasikas to arise. So in this way, then the yogi contemplates the arising of Vedana, Sanya, and Sankhara due to ignorance, craving, karma, and phassa. So in this way, in these 4 ways, by way of condition, the yogi contemplates. Bhante, do you have something else to say?
No, it's going good.
Okay.
Going very good.
Yes.
Very
okay.
Clear, I think.
So in this
Everybody okay? Everybody okay? Very
yeah.
clear, no? Going good.
Okay.
Having the previous understanding or what we explore about Paticca Samuppada makes it way easier to flow through this. Now we are seeing how the things are getting together. So the understandings and the insights of the mind are, and the purification of the mind is happening because of that knowledge.
Yes, thank you, Bhante. So by way of condition, the yogi contemplates on the 5 aggregates, and as well as by way of moment. So in this stage, because the knowledge is the knowledge of arising and passing away, so clearly he sees all these things that he's observing arises, and then it passes, arising, and it passes, arising, and passes. So the knowledge of the arising and passing away, Udhiabianyana, on the 5 aggregates, or simply we can say it on mind and matter, whatever the yogi is observing at that time, he contemplates by way of conditions in 4 ways: ignorance, avijja, craving, tanha, karma. Then also it can be, depending if it is rupa, then nutriment, depending if it is cetasika, then phassa, if it is vijnana, then namarupa. So in these 4 ways of conditions, and 1 way by way of moment, the arising and the passing away, the yogi contemplates, continue his vipassana practice in this way, and this stage of understanding is called Udhiabianyana. Until here, everybody
At
okay?
this time, everybody okay? Right now, the yogi is really making vipassana, understanding reality as it is in a special way. What special way? With wisdom. He's understanding his own body or her own body, her mind, whatever phenomena is happening, either inside or outside, with total clear X-ray understanding of what is what and what is generating everything. This is real vipassana.
Now here, when the yogi have this deep understanding about the arising and passing away, something very interesting happens in the yogi. So first, remember, first stage, he understands what is mind, what is metta, namarupa parichedanyana. Then he or she understands the causes and conditions that generate that, pacheya parigahanyana, conditions, no? Why they arises. Then samasananyana. He understands how they are, anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Then he sees very clearly the arising and the passing away of all these things. Then with this understanding, then his understanding is getting every time deeper and deeper and more clear about how, like Bhante said, how reality is as it is, no? So at this point, when the person arrives to this stage of seeing the rising and falling of all phenomena, then he might experience something special. So what happens here is that he might experience some lights coming out from his body. So he's feeling like these lights, and he will experience a lot of joy in his practice of understanding. Then he might also experience passaddhi, tranquility, he or she is feeling very calm and tranquil. And at this point, his resolution, adhimokkha, his determination increased a lot. Actually, here, this adhimokkha means his sada, his understanding or his confidence in the teaching and in the triple gem, in the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha increased a lot, because he sees that what he is really understanding is according to nature, according to how the Buddha taught, according to the Dhamma. So his adhimokkha here, determination, meaning sada, increased a lot. Also, at this point, he doesn't have to make any effort anymore. Effort is already in him. It comes so naturally. He doesn't really have to, I have to try to practice. No, he doesn't have to do that anymore. The effort it comes so naturally. He's just like, effort is just there, and it comes by itself. It's doing its own contemplation. And he also experienced a lot of happiness, sukha, because of understanding. No, the body also feels good. The mind feels good. And so at this point, his mindfulness and awareness here is called upatthana, becomes so steady, very sharp, and he's contemplating and penetrating into the objects that he's observing, very deeply into the object. So he also need not to remind himself to be mindful. Mindfulness just is there. It just happens, and he just no need to put effort, no need to try to be mindful. Just everything is happening at that time, and he's contemplating, and his understanding is very good, and very sharp at that moment. Also, he experienced a lot of equanimity and unshakable balance of mind he experienced at that time.
Wow.
So it's
very powerful. Now the whole thing is rolling by itself. The mind already reached a moment of cannot go back. Yes.
So all this beautiful thing is happening to him, as well as attachment arise in him. So this is dangerous. Why is that so? Because he's attached to what? Attached to what? He's attached actually to those experiences at that time. So because
he's very careful.
So he's feeling so good. He's feeling, wow, I have never experienced this kind of joy, this kind of happiness, this kind of mindfulness, and this kind of understanding. Everything's going so well. So at this moment, also attachment towards this type of experience also arise in the yogi, at this time. So this attachment is called Nikanti Attachment. So here is the danger, because then, although the practice is going so good, he's having all this kind of beautiful experience, but attachment quickly comes to him. So at this point, because of this special experience, he might think that he has already got enlightened, because he said, wow, I have never seen any light before, or I have never felt this kind of pity or this kind of tranquility, and I don't even have to make an effort. Mindfulness is just always there. Understanding is very deep. So if he or she does not have enough information, or if he's not well instructed or informed by his teacher, then he might think that, I have already arrived. This is Nibbana. This is so good. This is enlightenment. So at that point, he might stop practicing meditation, and he might just stay there and enjoy those nice feeling, and then he can get attached to that those different kinds of good experience. So therefore, this 10 of this experience here is actually called Vipassanupakilesa, impediment of Vipassana, or in other words, obstacles of Vipassana. Although they are really good thing, but because they can mislead the yogi to become, to think that he's enlightened already and get attached to those experiences, therefore that is considered as obstacles of Vipassana practice, actually. Yes, Bhante?
Yes, that's why the teachers give this warning. We should never stop, even we are experiencing something very pleasant, so much peace, so much joy or stability, or even we see lights. The Buddha himself and the teacher says, don't stop, keep going. These are some of the dangers. And this has happened to very prominent teachers. They have been misguided or misled by these experiences. Very prominent teachers have fallen into this trap. So we just know it, remember it, and happen what happened. Remember that everything is just a sensation, it's just an experience. Don't stop, keep looking, because there is still more understanding to purify and uproot. As you can see, attachment is doing this job. So the person is, the mind is very developed, but attachment hasn't been eradicated yet. So he can still take these knowledges as an object of attachment, and then the problem that the path can go astray.
Yes, he can stay there and think that I have already arrived. And in that case, then he stopped meditating and he stopped the development. No? So this is really, really important. At this stage, the yogi has to be very careful when this kind of experience arises in him. So here, therefore, now we can understand why this stage of purification is called to understanding what is the right path and what is not the right path. No? Because if he thinks that is the path, then he stayed there and he don't continue. No, but if the yogi understands that no, this is not not nibbana yet. We have not yet arrived. This is just some normal experience that arises to the yogi at this stage of practice. It's just something natural that arises because of the stage of the purification that he is in. So if he understands in that way, then he goes on to the right path and he continue practicing, then he will eventually arrive to nibbana, no? To the real destination, to the real purification of the mind. Otherwise, he just stay there or he go to the wrong way and stay stagnant in the practice. Yes, Bhante, sorry.
Yeah, don't stop. Even people who is known or thought to be enlightened, they continue practicing after. Even the Buddha himself, after he got was a Samma Sambuddha, totally self-enlightened one, he continued doing Anapana, so simple. When the monks asked him, Master, what do you do when you are by yourself? And he said, I keep my mind in the contemplation of the breath. So simple. And he was a Samma Sambuddha. So even for themselves, for us, what to say? We just don't stop, keep moving. And then the experience of nibbana, the mind will know when it really happens. But there are some dangers around. Just keep swimming like Dory.
Yes. Okay. So a little story. There was a monk that he experienced. He practiced Vipassāna and he experienced all this experience, very beautiful experience. And he actually thought he himself was enlightened already. So, and then he keep instructing his students, and then many of his students are enlightened actually. So one day, one of his students, he is already enlightened, an arahant, and he has also jhana, abhinya, so he has supernormal power, and he knows that, oh, my teacher is actually not enlightened, he thought. And that arahant, no, that he was the student who already got enlightened. He said, okay, so just for my gratitude to my teacher of guiding my way, I should tell him that he is not enlightened. So he has to practice, no, because he's so busy teaching all the students every day. And here, Bhante, please correct me if I'm mixing up two.
You are saying the one that the teacher has the abhinya, no, and then the student come and said, Master, can you please with your supernormal powers appear an elephant?
Yes.
A charging elephant. And then the master said, yes, of course I can appear whatever. I have these supernormal powers. Please do so. The arahant student come to the master and tell him, can you appear the elephant? And then as soon as the master appear the elephant and the elephant is charging towards him, he gets scared. The teacher gets scared.
His own vision.
And his own vision. He gets scared by his own vision. And that really taught him that he was not enlightened, because it is known that a person who is totally enlightened do not get scared by anything. The mind is totally free from aversion. It has no fear at all. Whatever happens, the mind is stable. So then the teacher, by the student asking him to appear a charging elephant, the master, very thankful to the student, oh, thank you so much. He thought he was enlightened already. By getting scared by his own creation, he recognized it, and then the story ended up well. The teacher understood, thanks to the guidance of the student in this case, and he practiced and finally got enlightened. So that was the story. No,
that was. Thank you, Bhante. Yes. So the teacher, he thought he was totally enlightened, but then the student showed him that he is actually not enlightened yet. So he thought, oh yeah, so he thought he was. So because of all this good experience that he has been experiencing, and he thought, how come I haven't got angry and I haven't got any defilements for years, for so many years. I am so peaceful and so calm. So he thought he was enlightened.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Bante, for the story. Okay, so now here, let's take a look. Actually, here, among these 10 impediments or obstacles of Vipassana, actually, in reality, only attachment is akusala. Because like or joy or tranquility and effort and mindfulness, understanding, all these are good. They are not akusala at all. But although they are good mind state, a person or the yogi might mistakenly take them to be enlightenment. So therefore, they are called impediments of Vipassana or obstacles to Vipassana. Not that because they are akusala that they are impediments. Just because the yogi can mistaken that to be enlightenment. So here, among the 10 Vipassanupakilesa, only attachment is the akusala here. Yes, Bante?
Yes, and as our teachers remind us, in normal day meditation and practice, they always say, be very careful with peace, be very careful with pleasant sensations that arise from meditation, because that will, the attachment that we still carry will cling to it. Oh, very nice. And many people we have seen, including, I think myself in the past more, we were practicing because of the pleasantness of meditation. So actually we're getting attached to something more subtle in this case, but we are not doing something towards decreasing the attachment. And even to these very heightened states of mental development, they still can cause a problem. So we just know it, continue going until the real enlightenment happens. Yes.
Thank you, Bante. Yes, so as Bante said, so the yogi should not stop here when he arrived to this stage of purification. He needs to understand that it is just something normal that arises in the mind of the person when he have this kind of understanding of arising and passing away. When he understands that the arising and dissolution, Udhiabianyana, in this stage, then this happens to the person. And he just needs to understand that this is something normal, and he needs to observe it as any other object. So joy, just joy, and he just keep observing, and then he has to overcome the attachment towards that those nice experience. No, he should not feel like I'm satisfied with this, I'm contented now, this is it, and then stop there. No, so it has to be he has to recognize and realize that that is not the path. So here, if he understands that those are not the correct way, and then he continue practicing, then he is said to be in this stage of the purification by knowledge and vision as to what is the right path and as to what is not the right path. No, so maga, amaga, maga, jnana, dasana, visuddhi here.
Dasana comes from seeing what is the maga and what is the amaga, the non-path, the path and the non-path. Seeing visuddhi, the purification of the mind by seeing what is the path and what is not the path, like the attachment and all this clinging, by wisdom. Yeah, jnana dasana, by the wisdom, seeing through the wisdom of what is the path and what is not the path. The mind gets purified. Very strong mind by now, very powerful. But still not there yet. Not yet there.
Yes.
Everybody okay? Everybody okay? Questions or something? Everybody where? Good, looking good. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so at this stage of purification, maga, amaga, jnana, dasana, visuddhi, this stage of purification consists of two kind of knowledge. No, now we are coming to the end of this stage. The knowledge of comprehension, samasana jnana, understanding things as anicca, dukkha, and anatta, as well as the udhiabianyana, the knowledge of the arising and passing away. Yes. Okay. Now there are a little bit more details here. Now we are going into it. So let's just take a look again. Yes, Bante?
Briefly, Charana, the knowledge of arising and passing away actually is referring to anicca more specifically also, because that is what anicca does, no? It arises and passes away, arises and passes away. So it is guiding our mind. Although in the samasana jnana, we already contemplating anicca, dukkha, and anatta. This is, I think, reinforcing the understanding of everything arise, pass away, anicca, 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 going on to that direction. Yes, then the mind continue growing.
Thank you, Bante.
Clarifying.
Actually, in the Sayadaw Usilananda, he explained that throughout the Vipassana practice, throughout all the 7 stages of, the stages of the purification, actually for Vipassana practice, anicca, dukkha, anatta is like a recurring theme. So it is always, we have to base on anicca, dukkha, and anatta, anicca, dukkha, anatta, anicca, dukkha, anatta, understanding in different ways, with different knowledge, different understanding, and different levels, and different depth, and all this way. So Vipassana is the understanding of anicca, dukkha, and anatta, and at the end, the understanding of the Four Noble Truths. Yes, Bante, please.
Yes, because also because of the arising and passing away, we contemplated in previous sessions that's why suffering arises, because even happiness will disappear sooner or later. And then anatta, if something is not staying steady or being in itself, it's arising and passing away. What is myself? It is just a natural process. So actually, yes, as Sayaduji said, it is just we are just contemplating the 3 characteristics from different angles. The mind is now understanding, getting to see them directly in our experience. Hopefully this happens very soon to all of us. Yes, Charana, let's continue. I have 4 minutes or 5 minutes around. Let's see where we get.
I think
and if I disconnect, if I disconnect, Charana, in 5 minutes, you just continue close. I wait for 5 minutes. We have the break and then connect to continue going. Okay.
Yes, okay. I think 4 minutes, it's going to be good time to finish about this part before we move on. Yeah. Okay, so just revision again. Nama Rupa Parichedanyana, knowledge of mind and matter. Paccaya Parigahanyana, knowledge of discerning the conditionality. Then Samasananyana, the understanding of anicca, dukkha, and anatta by groups, by Rupa groups, Nama groups, etc. Then we finished with Udhiabianyana, which is the knowledge of arising and passing away. Now here, this Udhiabianyana is interesting because the Udhiabianyana that arise before the 10 impediments, before the Vipassanupa Kilesa, before that is called actually a tender knowledge. So it's like a knowledge that is a little bit green, let's say, not very well developed yet. So after the arising of the impediments, and he overcome, and when he is able to overcome those obstacles, and he understand that, oh, everything arises and passes away, and then these good experience are not the way to enlightenment. They are just something that arises, and so I have to continue practicing. So after the yogi, he overcome those 10 obstacles. After those experience, and he clearly see what is the way, not what is not the way, then his Udhiabianyana becomes mature. And in this case, so his knowledge of arising and passing becomes deeper, even deeper, when he keeps continue to contemplate. And so he reach into the second stage of this Udhiabianyana, which belongs actually to the other stage of purification. Okay, so yeah, so let's take a look now again here. So now we have the purification by knowledge and vision as to what is the path and what is not the right path. We finished already now. So we are going to the next one, which is the purification by knowledge and vision of the way. Okay, so now here, let's take a look in another graphic, which I have prepared to show the different kind of wisdom and different stage of stage of purification side by side, so we can very clearly know what's happening. No, okay. Now, from the very beginning, when we just understand Nama Rupa Parichedanyana, analytical knowledge of mind and matter, that is considered the purification of view. Yes, Ditti Visuddhi. No. Then we have knowledge by discerning conditionality, Paccaya Parigahanyana, and that belongs to the purification of overcoming doubt, Khenka Vitarana, Visuddhi. Why is that so? Because remember, when the mind understands that how matter and mind and matter arises because of cause and condition, then he has no doubt about that whether it is by luck, or whether it is by the creation of a god, or whether how things happens, no? Then he has no doubt about it anymore, because he clearly sees the cause and condition of how things arise.
cause and effect, seeing it clearly in the process of what doubt can arise. He's looking, he or she is looking directly to the thing.
So he has no more doubt as to how things are being created in a way, but just by cause and condition, not by any kind of external forces or whatever it may be. So therefore, he has no doubt about it anymore. Then after that, what happens is the knowledge of comprehension, Sammasananyana, meaning understanding anicca, dukkha, and anatta, and Udhiabianyana, the knowledge of arising and passing away, the one we just saw, together. Then after this, the 10 impediments, the 10 experience arises after this, after the understanding of arising and passing away, then the good experience happens. And after that good experience, then he further deepened his understanding of the arising and passing away. So here, this Udhiabianyana becomes mature, and it arises to the stage of the purification by knowledge and vision of the way. Okay, so here actually it is just one understanding, but in between there are the 10 Vipassanupakilesa, the 10 impediments or obstacles, the nice experience that the yogi might get attached to. So before that arise, this understanding of Udhiabianyana belongs to the purification by knowledge and vision as to what is the right path and what is not the right path. After he overcomes those obstacles and then he deepens his knowledge of arising and passing away, then he enters into the next purification by knowledge and vision of the way. Is that clear? Okay, so this knowledge actually crossed through two purifications, no?
Yeah, this last knowledge is actually just the confirmation or the strengthening of the previous one, because he was coming facing the beautiful or pleasant sensations. He or she overcomes the attachment, goes over, and then the thing just gets
deeper and mature,
more mature. Yes.
Okay, so this is the sixth stage of purification, and then there are still the 7th stage of purification. But here in the 6th stage of purification, there are actually so much more things that he needs to understand. So in this stage, there are actually 9 kinds of wisdom, of understanding. So after understanding the arising and passing away much in a mature way, then the knowledge of dissolution, fearfulness, misery, disgust, desire for deliverance, reflective contemplation, equanimity about formation, and adaptation arise before enlightenment happens. No? So now after the break, we will go through all this, which is actually very easy to understand, and we'll go through it relatively quickly, I think. But I think maybe time is more or less there. So let's stop the content here. If you have any questions or anything, then we can discuss. So until here, everybody okay?
Everybody okay? Everybody okay? Looking good. The faces looks good. They're like, wow. Some people is like, wow, he's coming. The mind is getting better and better, more purified. Okay, we check some questions. I have a few seconds. It might cut right now, and then we have the break and coming back. So anybody have a question? Something by now.
Everybody okay? Until here, it's clear. Now we are kind of seeing the map of Vipassana. We are seeing the map of how it happens. So I think Bante is cut already. So Andreita, I see you want to say something, but should we wait for the 5 minutes so Bante also comes back?
Okay, yeah, no problem.
All right. Okay. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you in 5 minutes, and then we'll connect again and continue with Andrea's question in the next part of the content. Okay. Okay. See you in a little bit.
Somebody has a question. Something.
Yeah, Andrea was about to ask a question.
Let's start, Andreita, then.
I just wanted to ask, in my little experience with Vipassana, it feels like it is a big puzzle, and then with some practice and understandings, you start getting like little piece here, little piece there, and don't get full picture, but you get like tiny pieces. So I was wondering if the stages, if it's something that it is like first stage complete and then second stage, or if it's, because it feels the other way, like it's little, and then maybe if something is complete, then like Sila Samadhi and Panya, I was wondering if it was the same or if it's independent.
Yeah, these stages of enlightenment, actually, technically, they must happen accordingly. So a person must have the Namarupa Parichedanyana first before Paccaya can arise. So it must go step by step. So therefore, this little understanding that we are having in our practice at the end will come into the knowledge of the understanding of what is mind and what is matter, the first stage, the very first, the understanding of analytical knowledge of mind and matter. Therefore, Utejaniya, sometimes he said, do you know what is mind, what is matter? Do you know which is mind, which is matter? Are they different? Are they the same? Sometimes he say that. No, why does he say so? Because he's guiding us to the first stage actually only, no? Namarupa Parichedanyana, the first stage of understanding. So yes, it must go step by step. The stages must go.
And at the same time, Andreita, we cannot underestimate all the understanding we are having, because we are actually making like a Lego, no? We first making many pieces to have a one piece that later on we will stick it up with bigger pieces. So every understanding that we are having right now in our normal practice, we are actually building up, going onto that direction. But then later on, when the stages of purification of the mind happen, they do happen in due course, like we are seeing. But because of all the work that we have been doing daily, like understanding a little bit of anicca here, a little bit of matter here, a little bit of mind here. So we are building up. And right now, at this stage that we are contemplating now, is because the mind is almost ready to get enlightened. It has already accumulated in our daily practice as we are doing. We cannot underestimate all of that small insights. They are building up to those. And yes, they will go in due order as we are seeing them.
Yes.
One leads to the other. Actually, it's logical. One follows to the other. One is a base for the next one and the next one. Yes.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I was just wanting to say actually the same thing as Vante, but that does not mean that if we are not already have the knowledge of the analytical knowledge of mind and matter, Namarupa Parichedanyana, if we haven't have that, we cannot understand anicca, we cannot understand dukkha, we cannot understand anatta. Is not like that. There are understanding that happens about anicca, about anatta, and about dukkha, no, all the time that these things is happening. So we're contemplating. But as Vante said, these are the stages when the person is really getting very close, and the Vipassana practice is getting close to enlightenment, and then all those happens in that order. Those understanding, wisdom, understanding.
They happen in that order, and let's remember that they can happen very quickly. The mind just understood. We are contemplating them now slowly, but yes, all this process, depending on the force and stability of the mind, it can happen very quickly, as it happened in the times of the Buddha, that people was just listening, was attentive, was concentrated, the mind was stable, they were having good sila at that time. The Buddha just gave the last piece of information for their wisdom to be complete, and all this just happened in a flash.
Yes, it could happen very quickly, or it could happen slowly, depending on the person, no? Because remember, last time we have seen that when a person, he has Namarupa Parichedanyana, and he understands Paccaya Parigahanyana, meaning he understands what is mind, what is matter, their difference by their characteristics, etc., and he understands the conditions of how they arise, why they arise, then that person is considered a Chula Sotapanna, no? A little Sotapanna, no? A small stream enterer, no? So a person,
enlightening.
Yes. So that person can stay like that without getting enlightened in the whole life. It is possible, no? But if he has that kind of understanding, next life, surely he will be reborn at least as a human, no? So it's surely in a good state, so he can continue the practice, no? Because of his understanding.
What if we are already there? Somebody, no, maybe, who knows? Not yet, but let's try. Okay, Charan, I think we can continue.
Yes.
Anybody, another question, comment? Everybody okay? Good. Okay, let's continue then. Caro, you raise a hand. You question? Yeah, Carito has a question.
Yes.
El arising and passing away, el practicante lo ve justo los 17 momentos mentales.
Probablemente no. Eso, sorry. Probably not, because we have seen that only a Buddha can do that. Actually, he will see not precisely the 17 mind moments arising and passing away. Only that's the job of a Buddha. But he will, I don't know in what resolution he or she will be able to recognize the arising and passing away. Maybe in greater chunks, but maybe not, Carito. I don't think it will depend on the clarity and wisdom of and mental stability of the practitioner, but maybe not. I think that will be only for a Buddha.
I think not necessarily he sees it exactly like the moment of rising and passing away, but he sees that everything that arises passes away. Like in the previous understanding, the yogi, he takes the whole lifetime. Everything that arises in this life does not pass to the other life. Then he makes a small chunk, and everything that arises in the first 1/3 of lifetime does not pass through the second stage of life, and then does not pass through the third stage. Then he divides again into a decade. Then everything in the first 10 years does not pass to the second 10 years. Then again, he reduced the time. Then everything that arises in this hour is not there anymore in the next hour, in days or etc. No, until the event, the one step. Even if I make one step, then whatever is there already passed away. It doesn't carry into the next step. So in this way, he tried to make it to understand it that in smaller time frame, that everything arises and passes away. He might not arrive to exactly the 17 moments of mind so quickly, but he sees it also like just really it just arises and it is gone. But because in every single I blink, then billions of mind pass away, no? So he might see things already like just in a blink of an eye, everything is different, but already past 9 billion. So I'm not sure if one arrived to the 17 so short, but in very short frame, he understands that whatever arises passes away.
I think, Carito, the practitioner will be perceiving arising and passing away in very short experiences. Because her mind will be very focused. So it will depend on the ability of the practitioner, the resolution of that understanding, the chunk. Somebody else have a question, something, or we continue? Continue. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Sadhu. We are moving. We are going forward. Yes. We are almost enlightened, dears. We are almost enlightened.
Today in this session that we will arrive to enlightenment, surely.
Yes, we are. Okay, get ready.
Okay, so let's continue. So here now we are talking about the 6th stage of purification, the purification by knowledge and vision of the way. Now he is no more about which is the right way, which is the wrong way. No, he is already on the way. No, so this stage is called the vision, knowledge and vision of the way. Okay, so now we have finished with the mature knowledge of Udhiabianyana, the arising and passing away. Now let's see what happened next. Now next comes the knowledge of dissolution, which Bhante has already made an introduction earlier. So before, when he is continue practicing, he understands the mature wisdom of Udhiabianyana. He sees things arises and then disappears, arises and passes away, arises and passes away. Whatever he observes arises and passes away. That is called the mature Udhiabianyana, no? Arising and passing away. After that, what happens is that now in his mind, he sees so much more clearly. That means the dissolution, the disappearing part of the experience become more prominent in his mind.
Yes.
So instead of the arising, he sees much more clearly the passing away, the quick cessation of all mental and physical phenomena. Whatever arises, just pass, no? So that is called the knowledge of dissolution, Udhiabianyana. So actually it's the same thing, but sorry, Bhante?
Yeah, just Udhiabianyana, yeah.
Yeah, so actually he is making progress on the same understanding, but then now in his mind, this the dissolution or ceasing part become more prominent. He sees the passing away of the things more clearly. Then after that, what happens is that when he sees that mind and matter keeps disappearing, then he understands that everything that arises, they are actually, we have to be aware of them. They are actually with danger or with dread, because they are not there forever. Whatever arises, they just disappear. So this knowledge, this understanding, sometimes it is translated as knowledge of fearfulness, Udhiabianyana, but actually this fearfulness, although the translation is like fearfulness, but the yogi, we have to understand that he is not afraid of it. He just knows that these things are to be afraid of. They are dangerous. They are not reliable. So they are, this sense, I hope you understand, but he's not afraid of them, because if he's afraid, then akusala arises in his mind and he is not doing vipassana anymore. So he's not afraid of it, but he knows that these things are scary stuff. He has that understanding. No?
Dreadful. It is dreadful that there is nothing to hold on. He or she realized what? Everything is just arising and passing away, nothing to hold on. This is, something is happening. Samsara is real. Everything will pass away. So he kind of gets the dread, not fear, but as a kind of dosa, but the dread. Well, this is something serious. This thing is not staying. So he experienced this. The teacher said that this experience is a little bit intense, but the mind is stable because there is still vipassana going on. There is awareness, kusala side, and wisdom is seeing. So it is just another stage that the mind shakes a little bit and starts seeing this dread, and then moves forward, getting closer to peace.
I'm not sure if the mind shakes at all, because it is a wisdom, a kind of wisdom. He understands that these things are scary. These things are not to be relied on, but he is not afraid of it.
I say shaking, not in the shake or sense of akusala, but activity. So there is some activity. The mind is realizing, recognizing, and moving forward. Yes.
Thank you, Bhante. So the yogi at this stage, he contemplates, because he sees the dissolution of the conditioned things very clearly. So he understands that anything that arises in the 3 periods of time, whether it was past, whether it is present, whether it is the future, in the same way, it arises and it passes away. So he contemplates also everything in terms of the 3 periods of time. Everything that arises in the past has gone. Everything that arises in the present goes. Everything that will arise will also go. So in the same way, he applies to all the 3 periods of time, no? And he understands that all these things are dreadful, as Bhante said. Then after this understanding...
Wait, Kaz raised a hand. Yes, Kaz, you have a question.
I'm a little confused in this step, because I remember that the yogi had already been there, hadn't he? Like I remember this part about the fearfulness.
Not yet. Actually, in the other one is that he understands the anicca, dukkha, and anatta in the samasana jnana by way of understanding that things arises and passes away, to reinforce his understanding of anicca, dukkha, and anatta, but not because here he is seeing so clearly that things are scary, but not in the sense of by way of that to understand anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Is a little bit
not in this way. He has been seeing arising and passing away before, saying, wow, this is something serious happening, but right here he hasn't arrived yet to, wow, samsara, there is nothing to hold. So he moved. That gives more power for the mind to move forward and find stability, not on the external world or all the things that we have as a concept, but into the reality, he's trying to find this stability, not based on something that is constantly arising and passing away. So he's going towards the, I think he's calling towards Nibbana, the uncreated, the unconditioned, to this kind of total peace. He's kind of moving forward into that direction. Yes, Casita, it hasn't happened like in this way. Hasn't happened. Yes.
This actually might be a little bit, I feel like it might be connected a little bit to Andrea's comment and question, because he already see all these things before, a little bit of it, a little bit of understanding, accumulating. But here is where this understanding really mature. So at this stage. So previously, he already saw that things arises and passes away. This is actually something not so funny, no? And it is something scary, no? Then in that time, no? So, but he already see a little bit of that, but it's not so prominent that really he understands that it is really not fun. and it's really dangerous. No, so at this point, that comes that understanding.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Charana,
Okay.
let's move on. I have 25 minutes or so.
It's going to be
Let's
enough.
keep-
Don't worry, Bante. Yeah. We're coming to the end of today's class, actually.
Yeah, not worry. Just letting you know. And in case I get disconnected, you just finish. No problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
so
we just keep.
after this understanding, then what happens is that because of this understanding, again, he understands that actually nothing is satisfactory. It's dukkha, no? Because whatever arises, then it disappears, and it is with danger. It is not so funny, no? Everything just passed away. So he understands that the unsatisfactory side of whatever arises, because it passes away. So he sees things as like faulty, no, in a sense, like it is not perfect. It is with disadvantage. He sees that he contemplates that whatever mind and matter is not reliable, then it is without advantage, no. So here it is translated as the knowledge of misery, according to Venerable Jnana Ponika's translation of Mahasi Sayadaw's book, The Progress of Insight, Visuddhi Jnana Kata. According to that, it is translated as knowledge of misery. Sometimes you will find translation as knowledge of fault, according to the Burmese translation, and some different translation. But anyway, this adinawa is the word. So this adinawa in the dictionary shows that it is like with disadvantage, it is faulty and like that. So he understands that everything that passes away, they are dangerous and they are not satisfactory. It's just misery, or it is with fault, or it is of disadvantage. So this
and dukkha.
And this understanding arises in him. And now it counts disenchantment. Then he becomes wary of the object. He gets tired of all these things, that whatever arises just pass away. And so he gets tired of it, and he understands, and he does not take delight in any form of
condition thing,
hard to condition things. He does not take delight on it anymore. So this is called the nibbida nibbana. He becomes depassionate towards everything that he observed, because whatever he observes is just a run and then it passes away. Yes, Bante.
Yeah, dispassion. He has no passion towards things. He starts getting like, what is it to it? It's already arising and passing away. Do I hold? Keep moving. Yes.
Yes. So after getting disenchanted with whatever is there, then the next knowledge happens is the next one is called the desire for deliverance. He wants to let go. He wants to be free, because he sees that it doesn't worth it. It's just misery, and it arises and it just passes away. It's nothing lasting. Then he becomes depassionate of it, and he wants to let go of it. So the next knowledge is called the knowledge of desire for deliverance.
Wow. Now the mind is releasing the whole stuff. Yes.
Okay.
Freedom is coming.
Yes. So if he wants to let go, what happens is that he needs to again practice. Now he realized, because he wants to let go, so how to let go? So he said, oh, then I have to practice again. So that means that he has to put some effort, and then he again reflect on how things are anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So this kind of knowledge here in this stage is called the knowledge of reflective contemplation. Because if he wants to be delivered from all the conditioned things, then he has to practice Vipassāna by clearly reviewing all those conditioned things with the three characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So therefore, here, this knowledge or this understanding is called Patisankha Jnana. Patisankha meaning reflective contemplation. Again, he practice. Again, he contemplate on how
reinforcing what we have seen.
How everything is anicca, dukkha, and anatta. No. Okay. So after that, after he passed through the reflective contemplation, then the yogis, he sees that there is nothing, not anything in the conditioned thing that is to be taken as I or as mine. because everything is anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So he is not attached to it anymore. And at the same time, he does not feel repulsed. So he neither like it or dislike it. So he becomes totally equanimous towards all formation. Anything that arises is okay. It just arises and passes away. He neither like it or he neither dislike it. So this stage is called the knowledge or the wisdom of equanimity towards formation. Sankharupeka. So he becomes totally equanimous or neutral towards whatever arises, the mind or matter, because he does not attach to it, or he doesn't dislike it.
He already saw the dangers and overcome it. He already saw the arising and the passing away, the dissolution, and got a little bit fearful about it. Wow, this is serious, and overcome it. And now he's coming, he got dispassioned. He's like, there is nothing to hold on. Anyway, this thing is arising and passing away. And now his mind is reaching peace. Wow, beautiful. We are about to get enlightened, my dears. Almost getting there. The next one. Yes. The mind is now stable. No more fear, no more passion, no more attachment. He already released the thing that is just nature. No I, me, mine. The mind is understanding anatta. Anicca is understood. Dukkha is understood. And here we go with the next one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yes. So at this stage of the knowledge of equanimity towards formation, the mindfulness is very, very natural to him. He does not need to make any effort to become mindful. And also the objects for observation are always there. It like the objects present themselves to the mind of the yogi very, very clearly. So at this time, there are always objects are presenting itself in a very clear way, because mindfulness is very sharp without needing to put any kind of effort. And so therefore also this is called the equanimity towards formation, towards all conditioned things. No, actually this is the highest stage of Vipassana. So after this, we're going to get enlightened now. So this is the highest stage of Vipassana practice. Then after that, what happens is that after he has this kind of understanding process, the enlightenment process happens in him. So in that thought process, as we know that Bhavanga, Manodovaravajana, then we have this all kinds of still this is still Kamavachara Javana, no? Still, this is the javana of the sense sphere, no? So we have Parikama, Upachara, Anuloma, and Gotrabu, then Maga, Phala, then Bhavanga, no? So these four here is called knowledge of conformity, Anuloma Jnana. This is the next understanding, because here he's still taking the Vipassana mind and matter as object for the understanding. So here is the knowledge of conformity, which is really, really close, the knowledge that is leading to Maga and Phala. Yes, Bhante?
No, nothing. Just rejoicing on the moment.
Yeah, very beautiful. Okay, just to remind everybody, let's go back to the Maga mental process. Here, Upachara, the preparation, Parikama, preparation, Upachara, access or neighborhood, Anuloma, conformity, then Gotrabu, the changing of lineage, no? So here sometimes Gotrabu is divided into another kind of knowledge, but we will go into that. So now let's take here Parikama, Upachara, and Anuloma to be the this stage of Anuloma Jnana, no, of knowledge. Then what happened after Gotrabu is that the person, he changes from a mundane person to a noble person. So he is no more a Putujana. In the next moment when Maga arises, he becomes an Arya, becomes a noble person. So he is not a worldling anymore. Okay, so in the Gotra.
Sadhu.
Yes, so Maga, Phala, Bhavanga. Okay, so after Anuloma Jnana, next understanding, next wisdom is actually Gotrabu, no? Gotrabu. So let's see what happens. The Gotrabu, changing of lineage. Here, now let's take a little look. Yeah, let's take a little look of the word itself. Gotra actually means lineage, and Bu here has two meanings. The first one is to overpower, of overcome, and the next meaning is to reach into. So if we take the bu meaning to be overpower, overcome, then we understand that the lineage that he is overcoming is the Putujana lineage, no? Then when we understand that, when we take the meaning to be to reach into, then we understand the lineage to be the Arya, the noble one's lineage, no? So actually what it means, Gotrabu here is then he overcome the mundane lineage and he enters into the noble lineage. So when Gotrabu happens, Gotrabu takes Nibbana as an object, and in the very next moment, when Maga arises, then he becomes a noble person.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Here we are. That person is free.
Yes. Okay. So we still have a little bit of information. Let's go through this and then we'll complete today's content. Okay, now very nice, you know, Maga already arise. Now the next understanding, now so we have gone through gone through the Sankarupekanyana, the equanimity towards formation is the highest of Vipassana, no? So he neither dislike whatever arises, whatever object, mind and matter, whatever he takes, he is totally equanimous about it. He neither like it nor dislike it. He's just okay with it, no? Then whatever arises. Then he, because of understanding. So Sankarupekanyana. After that, then enlightenment process happened. Then Anulomanyana, knowledge of conformity, arises very, very close. Those knowledge of Vipassana that leads to real enlightenment. Then Gotrabu arise. Then he changed lineage. Gotrabu is the first Chitta that takes Nibbana as object. No, first he already arrived. He touched Nibbana. Then Maga arise. Now, what happened in the Maga knowledge? In Maga, there are 4 functions of Maga. Of Maga Chitta. What does it do here? What kind of understanding? So when Maga arises, it does 4 things simultaneously. It does 4 things. So what does it do? First, it thoroughly understands the first noble truth. And we will come into details. Huh? Then second, it abandoned totally the second noble truth. Then it realized the third noble truth. And it developed the fourth noble truth. So all these 4 things happened at the same time. Now here, like this is a little bit like, you will have to think a little about it. So I have prepared some slides for us to refresh our memory. So let's say, thoroughly understand the first noble truth. So what happened here? What is the first noble truth? The first noble truth is the dukkha ariya satcha, no? The noble truth of suffering. So what is the noble truth of suffering? So as the Buddha, as we have already learned in the Buddha's teaching, the 5 aggregates of clinging itself is dukkha, no? Whatever that arises and passes away, arising and passing, always oppressed by arising and passing away is dukkha. So these... That means us. Yes, so these itself,
our body is dukkha,
yeah. So this itself, the 5 aggregates of clinging itself is dukkha, no? So in that case, Ariya Satcha, this noble truth is for what is to be understood, no? So one must understand it. So the first function of Maga is it totally understand the first noble truth, that the 5 aggregates of clinging is dukkha. Okay, then what happens in the second noble truth? The second thing that Maga does simultaneously is, what is the second noble truth? The noble truth of the cause of suffering, you know? Dukkha, samudaya, ariya satcha, which is craving. No? Because of craving, because of kamatanha, bhavatanha, vibhavatanha, in ultimate reality, lobha, because of this, then suffering arises. Yes, Bhante?
Yeah, craving for sense pleasures, craving for existence, and craving for non-existence. The 3 kinds of strongest lobha.
Right.
Yes, the one that we know the most is the craving for sensual pleasures, seeing, hearing, etc. And then?
Yes, so kamatanha is the sense pleasure. Bhavatanha is the lobha together with wrong view, thinking that things are permanent. No, then vibhavatanha is the craving or tanha with the annihilation view. No, thinking that everything will just disappear and that's it. There's no more. So anyway, all kinds of craving, and this noble truth is to be abandoned. Yes, so craving is to be abandoned. So the second thing that Maga Chitta does simultaneously is it abandons totally this craving. It abandoned the second noble truth. No, okay. Now the third noble truth. What is the third noble truth? It is the dukkha nirodha ariya satya, the noble truth of the cessation of suffering, which is actually nibbana. So this noble truth, this new noble truth is to be realized. So the third function that Magga does simultaneously is it realized nibbana. Then the fourth thing that the Magga Chitta does, no, and which is related to the fourth noble truth, the dukkha nirodha gamini patipada ariya satya, the noble truth of the path to the cessation of suffering, meaning the noble eightfold path, is to be what? Is to be developed. So the fourth thing that Magga does simultaneously, it totally developed to its fullest the noble eightfold path. So this is the fourth function that Magga does simultaneously. It totally understands dukkha. It totally abandoned craving, lobha or tanha, and it realized nibbana, and it totally developed the noble eightfold path. So that's what Magga done. What Magga does. So this is the knowledge of wisdom of Magga, no? Knowledge of Magga. So this one, these four things that Magga Chitta does simultaneously is compared by the teachers as an oil lamp. So how does it does four things together? Just like an oil lamp, it burns the wick, it burns the oil, it dispels darkness, and it brings light all at the same time.
Wow.
So Magga, so Magga does this whole thing.
It burns the wick, it consumes the oil, it dispels darkness, and it brings light. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yes. So Magga Chitta does these four things together, no, at the same time. It understands okay, let's go back. It understands the first noble truth. It understands dukkha, abandoned lobha, realized nibbana, develop the noble eightfold path. It does all the four things together, eradicate totally the defilement according to the stage of enlightenment, uproot them, and arrive to nibbana also, no? Okay, so that's like the oil lamp. And so here now we can see actually Gotrabu and Magga belongs to the seventh stage of purification. So we see the knowledge of Anuloma, very close to enlightenment, where we see equanimity of formations first, the highest of Vipassana, then Anuloma, the still taking Vipassana as object, now here. Namarupa, taking Namarupa as object, then it is completed the purification, stage of purification by knowledge and wisdom, knowledge and vision of the way. Then Gotrabu and Magga belongs to the purification of knowledge by vision. That's the highest stage of purification because Magga already arise. No? Then after that, what happened? Still more understanding, more knowledge arise. That's Phala and Paccekakkhana. Paccekakkhana is review process. No, remember, after one get enlightened, then the reviewing process happens. He reviews what kind. He reviews nibbana. He reviews what kind of defilements are being eradicated, what kind of defilements are still there, waiting to be eradicated in further stage. So he does all those review. Those are also wisdom, no? So after these ones, then it comes Gotrabu, Magga, Phala, and the reviewing wisdom, no, Paccekakkhana. But this is not in the purification anymore because Magga already purified, no? That is just other kinds of understanding. So here, congratulations, we completed the whole 7 stage of purification together with the 16 types of wisdom.
Wow, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We are enlightened, my dears, already. Arrived all the way.
At least we know the map.
Yes. Sadhu, 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 everybody. We arrived. The whole preparation for this, all the understanding. Sadhu. Oh, very happy. This is what we're gonna do. What we need to do now is apply ourselves and get to all of these understandings. Clear, no? How do you feel? I see many very big smiles everywhere, and many of you were really in some of the points, like the face was very bright. So that seems that it's telling us something. We might have listened to this information before, and we are looking forward. Or I don't know what's happening, but something beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Charana.
Thank you, Ante. Okay, so I think this is a good place to stop, and so we will stop the content here, and then we will continue with actually about Vipassana practice. Basically that's all. But we still have some other kinds of little small information before we finish the whole 9th chapter. So I guess in another 1 or 2 sessions, and we'll complete the whole Abhidhamma Sanghaha 9th chapter. Congratulations, everybody. Very good.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. 2 more sessions. We are arriving. Yes, yes. Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, everybody, for the common effort, noble effort. All this information is the key to liberate from suffering, the key to free from samsara. So may we really put it into practice, make it real, and be able to share the fruits with our families and all our friends. So there are a few minutes. Somebody has a question, comment by now. How is it going? How is everybody? How do you feel? Happy faces. Castita, come. Welcome,
I feel very happy. I really like to go through all this content. I think it's just the most beautiful thing for me. And even though it sounds a little more difficult for a lay person to get there, well, we have to try, no?
Yeah, as humans, we do. It doesn't matter where we are. We need to try. But we know what is necessary to be done, and we can see the map. We will know where we are. So this is priceless, my dears. Yeah, priceless.
Diplama's example encourages me a lot, because I thought she was a nun, but she wasn't. After I read the book, I find out she was not a nun. I thought she was.
No, yes, actually,
she was a leper.
Don't get discouraged because we are lay person, because the practice is the same. Although being a monk or a nun, they have more dedicated time and more better conditions in the monastery or places for more conducive for the practice. But we know the way, so little by little, step by step, we have to do it. And also, Sayadaw U Tejaniya, he actually says that the understanding that the time that he has the most understanding that arises in him is when he was working in the market. Actually, when he was working, when he has the family, so he is practicing very seriously that time. So because of all the conditions or all the situations that he has to face in life, then a lot of understanding arises in him. So don't look down on whatever opportunities with wisdom to arise, because if we apply ourselves, it is possible. So we have to try, because this is our condition at the moment. If later on, if we can change the condition to have a better or more conducive environment, surely, or why not, no? But as much as we have now, then we need to continue and try, and it is possible.
Yes, it is possible. Not underestimate, and also remember that there are some monks and nuns who don't have this information. There are some people, there are some monks who deny Abhidhamma. So how can they get this information? They are practicing, definitely they are dedicating more time, but without having the map, they can arrive, everybody can arrive, but with having a map, I think we know where we are going and where we need to turn, and etc. So yes, I'm also very happy to be exploring all this together. Somebody else, how do you feel? How do you feel?
Yeah, actually today's class, when I was preparing, it took quite a long time, like the whole week to prepare it. But then when we run it now, it feels like, oh yeah, why not? It just goes so smooth, and like one understand after another understanding. So it actually also, today's class is also helpful for me, because to run through and to go smoothly from one understanding to the other. So it's like a review, because when I was making it, I go front, go back and check here and there. And so I also didn't get the full picture, but now running it and feels like, okay, it's very smooth. The understandings arise, of course, in this way, So it was nice.
Yeah, it's flowing very well. Thank you, Charana. I will say goodbye and share merits. Let's share merits before we
Okay.
close, in case my internet gets cut. Marifer has a question, but maybe you can attend it. My dear family, may all these seeds
Thank you
really,
so
really
much.
fall into the best soil that we have. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Charana.
Thank you
May
so much,
this give
Bante.
fruit. Yeah, and also to thank you, and for our family, may they be benefited. Let's remember our parents, our children, our pets, our friends, the people we know, people we don't know, people with whom we have had troubles in the past. May them and their families be well. We share the merits of our dedication. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Please tell everybody who was not present on the class today to please see this session. Very, very important and inspiring. Let's try our best in whatever conditions we are. We will continue walking. Thank you so much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.
Wajantu sokarogo winyasatu mate bawat wantarayo suki dikayuko bawang abiwadana silisa nicham uta pachajino chataro dhamma wadanti ayuwano sukham balam bhavatu sabha mangalam rakantu sabha devata Sabha Buddhanu Dhammanu Sanganu Bhavena Sabha Sukhi Bhavantu Te Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Sadhu Sadhu everybody. Very good, very happy. We know what to do. Let's apply ourselves as much as we can.
Thank you so much, Bante. In case your internet cut, have a very nice day. Thank you so much for the company and your comments and everything. Have a nice day and see you later.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think he's gone now. Okay, so Marifer, if you have something to say, then we check your comment.
Okay, thank you. It's about the practice, because to be honest with you, I used to think that Vipassana was one of the easiest ways to practice, and it hasn't been the case for me. For me, it's been easier, and it's not, to be honest, to sit down and do samatha and metta, which I do every day. But Vipassana, as I get busy during the day, I just really forget. And I wanted to ask, if Vipassana can work sometimes like in past tense, and my mind says no, but sometimes.
But what do you mean by in past tense?
Because things happen, emotions arise, and then I realize, and I'm like, okay, I realize, but I'm busy. And then I keep going, and then I reflect about how I was feeling, how did it manifested at that moment, what was the cause, what was the effect, how did it cease. But I see it like afterwards. And sometimes I have insights, but I am not sure if that's Vipassana, because I think Vipassana is in the very present moment, observing what's going on actually. And if there's any advice, I know it's been a long time we've been studying and hearing, but if there's any other advice to apply it every day, because even if I'm not busy, it's just like poof, it just doesn't happen during the day.
Yes, certainly reflection, it's helpful because it's a way of promoting understanding, no? Because when we reflect on the, sorry, I just need to plug the computer. It's saying that I have no more battery. Okay, so surely, because when we reflect on something, then some kind of understanding also arises, no? So it is helpful. So surely, whether it is Vipassana or practice or not, I don't think it is so necessary that we keep it a label. As long as anything that helps an understanding, helps wisdom to arise, whether we call it Vipassana or not, I think it's good to do. Like, of course, strictly speaking, as you say, that Vipassana practice is in the present moment, but reflection is helpful for the wisdom to grow. So I would say that just keep doing that, if that is helpful also, to keep doing, because we understand through looking at the past experience, no? But of course, applying in the present moment is important. So when you say that, oh, I realize I'm aware, but I'm busy. Yes, you said, so actually in that moment you have mindfulness. So you are practicing actually at that moment. So sometimes we don't really have to, we can take it a little bit lighter. We don't really have to like, at that moment, I have to understand its cause, because the mind is busy doing something. So we cannot be thinking about reflecting on what is the cause of this or the contemplation of it. So that's why I think that's why you feel that you cannot do it in that moment, because you are doing something else. You have to pay attention to whatever you are doing. So you cannot be thinking about the situation or the causes of it or like that. Otherwise you will miss what you are doing, no? I'm not sure if it is the case, but as far as I listened, I feel like that. So sometimes it's just you just have to, just as you were doing, you understand, it is arising. Just know. Don't give the mind too much work to do, because the mind does its own job. So it is not all the time that we have to do it. So as long as there is a part of the mind that is watching, those wisdom arise, or those understanding can arise by itself. So it is not necessarily that all the time we have to be contemplating or thinking. Contemplation and thinking is helpful, but too much thinking about the thing it sometimes can lead to a little bit of intellectualizing the experience. So sometimes not necessarily think too much, but just recognize and keep knowing whatever it may be. Don't think about it, but sometimes it is interesting. Maybe you also have this experience that you are just knowing what is happening. You are not trying to do anything about it, just know it. And sometimes suddenly the mind says something, or suddenly some understanding arise. That's because the mind is doing its job. I'm not trying to understand something, but because conditions are being fulfilled and there are mindfulness, then the mind says something by itself, or the mind understands something by itself. So in those ways, it can happen in daily life. So probably not necessarily apply too much effort or trying that I need to do a lot, no? So actually you don't need to do too much. Just know, and that's it. So in a relaxed way, and if you forget, no problem. I also forget. So if forget, no problem. Just when you remember, yeah, and what is the mind doing now? Just that, enough. And whenever you remember, because if we don't remember, what can I do about it? I can stick stickers to be mindful or somewhere or something, but if I don't remember, I just don't remember. So whenever remember, be happy, and okay, now I remember, and just observe a little bit, then little by little, then the frequency of remembering will be more. And sometimes even if you don't want to remember the mind, just remember, because you get used to it already. So you don't want to be mindful and the mind is already mindful by itself. So I don't know, but I know I can't not know, because the mind is knowing by itself. I do not decide whether it know or not. No, so naturally it happens, and just don't try too much personal effort. Just remember and just know whatever it may be, and let it be. Maybe try this way.
Okay.
It's better.
Thank you, because all this knowledge, what you just taught us these last weeks, it's been amazing and inspiring, and really I wanted to practice more Vipassana. So thank you for answering.
Thank you so much. And of course, just remember that all that we have been learning in these past 2 weeks are the stages of really getting to enlightenment. No? So it is actually how the mind develops the understanding. But don't try to apply exactly, okay, now I must contemplate the anicca and dukkha and anatta about this thing, no? But it's good that we think about that and try to understand how it is anicca, how it is dukkha. So, but just give the mind a direction. We know this is how it happens, and this is the way, or this is the direction that we have to direct the mind. But we don't need to apply the exact knowledge into that, because it happens by itself. We are looking at how things happened, but not like what we need to put into the experience, no? But just direct the mind to that direction, and it will happen naturally by itself when the understanding is enough and when the conditions are right. Okay. Anybody else? Any comments or questions? Everything okay? Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much. Sorry again for the changing of time. I think it's going to be okay next Sunday, I hope. I mean, Sunday night. Yes, it should be okay. So I will put the video on YouTube. So whoever, like maybe Eduardo or Alex, if they missed it, the class is quite nice today about the understanding. So if they have time, they can take a look. I try to finish cutting it today. And okay, so thank you everybody for all your effort, and very nice. We are really coming to the ending, to the closing of the Abhidhamma Sangha, which is a great effort from your part as well, because 2 years is not a short time. And thank you for the company and for the exploration together. It's really very nice to know that we are all working together.
Thank you, Charana.
Thank you, Charana.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you all.
Love you
Have a good
too.
night.
Love you too. And thank you so much for all the slides and the explanation. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so have a good night, everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Saludos a toda la familia. Abrazos.
Yes. Abrazos.
Bye.